How old are you? How old are you right now?
47.
I'm 40. I'm going to be 44 in March, right? Like, when me and you grew up in the 80s, that, when we were kids, nobody said nothing about nobody. Nobody talked. You go to church, keep everything hidden. Don't tell anybody what's going on at the house. Don't tell anybody what's going on with the finances. And like after, 40 years of seeing people just broken by that, I think the whole world is waking up to, we should probably talk about this stuff because we're all going through it.
Right. And it is, a lot of people grew up with what happens in this house stays in this house.
Yeah.
And, those people I talk to, I'm like, well, give me some generational history. You got the same issues that your grandparents and parents had. Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably ought to let somebody else in the picture here. So.
Yeah, right. You might want to have a little, you might want to talk to someone about that. I always talk about, when I was a history teacher, I had this amazing clip of, it was cut up a bunch of people talking at like conventions in like the 30s and 40s for politics.
Oh,
and it was all the same nonsense you hear in the 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
And I would show the kids clips of politicians now versus then. And I'm like, guys, it's just a closed loop. It's a closed environment. Like there's nothing in, nothing out. And if you do that in your family, if you do that with your kids, it just doesn't work. Now, I'm not saying everybody should tell everything about everything you do. I think there is balance there.
Sure.
But man, some of that trauma, man, you just can't get through it without.
No, you can't do it on your own. So, and that's why I'm so passionate about creating a community for couples. And this needs to be normal.
3 chords are not easily broken, baby. 3 chords are not easily broken. So is it what's your domain name? Is it altered?
Yeah, alteredmarriage.com. It's ALTARED,
gotcha.
Like an altar. Yeah.
Yeah, like Altered State. You ever seen a store?
The store. They don't have the E. It's just ALTAR apostrophe D.
Apostrophe. Yeah, they're too cool for school. They're too cool.
Yeah, too cool.
Too expensive. That's a great domain name. That's a really good domain name. All right, so you start Altered Marriage. All the stuff in the pandemic gets through this. Now you come in and you launch this membership site. So give us where are you at right now in the membership? Like how?
Yeah, so I launched membership. Which is funny. It's like you say, I've got these ideas of what I want to create, but I don't know how to do it until you find somebody who knows how to do it. Right. And so, the last year and a half, I've listened to, you name it, who's done a free webinar on something. Overload, right? Yep. Russell Brunson and, Burchard and Stu McLaren and Amy Porterfield. I'm like, what do I do? So, when I came across Flip Lifestyle and saw, sometimes it's just a matter of, I would say for people, find your people, period. And for me, once I found my people, I found you through Pat Flynn. I've been listening to Pat Flynn for a while. And I was like, I'm down with that guy. And then when I started listening to your podcast, I'm like, this is practical. Like I can link arms with this guy. And so in July of 2021, so last year, I said, well, let me try this membership idea. Now, this is a little before I linked arms with you. So in my pea-brain mind, I said, oh, people have been counseling with me. In 2021, I launched my 6-week Zoom masterclass for couples. So it's a live experience once a week for couples. Like I got these couples that have come through my class, couples who have counseled me. When I roll out membership, like they're going to beat down my door and be like, thank you, Eric. Everybody wants to sign. So I sent out some emails to my email list saying, hey, I'm starting this. I want to open it to you guys first. So that's a list of probably 90 people who have been through classes. Shane, man, I had like 5 people sign up.
Yeah.
And those people, I just think signed up because they like me. Like I think to this day, none of those people have actually watched a video or interacted in the community at all. They just signed up to say, we want to help you, Eric. So yeah, I was defeated. Like I literally was like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. So that was in middle of July. So I would send out, I've got some other people I talk to kind of masterminding how we're trying to grow business. And so they're like, no, you need a little better campaign. So I didn't know anything about an email campaign even, right? How do I sell this?
It's all about email marketing at the end of the day,
and
baby.
So they're like, do like a 5 email sequence over the next week and tell them and sell them and, give urgency. And so I was like, all right, I'll try that. So I did that end of August. So I had like a month depression recovery period before I tried to go at it again. And I got a couple more And I even started making phone calls, Shane. I'm like calling the people who are my friends. And I'm like, dude, can you please sign up for my membership? You need to be in there. Sign up for it. And so a little bit, long story short, we get to end of October. I've got 17 people in membership.
Okay.
And that's when I joined Flip Lifestyle. And right at the end of October, and started, going through all your blueprint stuff.
So there's a couple of perspective here things. Like one, it's like a lot of people look at, it's so funny. I just talked to a guy this morning named Joel Santana, right?
Yeah. I've talked to Joel. Yeah.
You talked to Joel in the community. Yeah. And he was on the podcast earlier. And when he got 5 members, he almost cried. It was a celebration, right? And it's so funny. Like you got 5, you're like, man, I thought that was going to be 50. I thought 90 people, 50 of them were going to join. Right? Yeah, it's funny perspective. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, you had already talked to them,
Absolutely. Because I had all these people who like knew me, right? Who are already bought into who I am and what I do. And then I had an email list from the last year and a half, with the lead magnet on my website of probably 700 people.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like, surely I'm going to get more than 17.
The thing is though, it's like, and we're going to talk about this because I want to know why, like what made you tip over the edge and join. But like, it's like people can love what you do and understand what you do. And there's still a sales process of why the membership is the vehicle that they need to ride in with you. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what people leave out. Like it's, it's one thing like to just have the chops and people like you, but man, you got to convince them but you should do it this way because this way is what's best for you.
Yeah.
It's like, do you go to the local doctor or do you need to go to the specialist in the big doctor park? I don't like those big doctor parks. Yeah. But that's where your life-saving treatment is. You've got to go there. So it's like, we got to convince them of the vehicle, So you get to October, like what made you join the community? Were you just listening to the podcast one day?
Yeah. I mean, I'd been listening to your podcast at that point for a little while and following some of the stuff you did. And I'm like, yeah, this is my guy. So for me, when I find somebody, I'm like, yeah, I could hang, not that you have to with everybody, but I'd hang out with that guy. And what he's saying is practical. And so I need a practical application. Like I said, I've listened to everybody that probably you probably know them all, but I've listened to everybody's free webinar on you name it. Yeah. And so it's not a lack of knowledge at this point. Is how do I execute and how do I apply that stuff to actually be successful? And so, so I joined. I started, reading through the videos you got, the blueprint, and all the different stuff in there. I'll be honest here. So I'm sitting here and I got the wrong mindset, which is, I don't want to wear out my email list. And at that point, I joined a couple of the Q&As you did. And I remember hearing you say, you know what, just wear them out. They're either going to buy from you or they could unsubscribe.
That's right, man. Email them every day. Yeah. They're going to love it or hate it, but they won't ignore you.
Yeah. And I was kind of like, because I hate it when I get a ton of emails. But then when you're like, they can either buy or unsubscribe. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So that was kind of the first shift for me. So I argued with myself for a while about not emailing them. Until one day I'm sitting in my office by myself and I'm sitting here and I'm like, maybe I'll just do it every other day. And I don't want to wear people. It was like, I heard it in your accent too, which was the even better part. Like this.
Your accent ain't far off from mine, Texas boy. So you know what I mean?
I'm in the South. I'm just a little further west. Yeah. So I heard like almost you saying to me through myself, like, so you're in your head arguing with the guy who has multiple 7-figure businesses and you have 17 people in your membership and you're arguing with him about why not to do what he says. It was just like,
come on. Did I, at the end of it, I go, come on now, Eric, come on, right? Now, man. Come on now. What are you doing, man?